In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to unlock all of the bunkers in Verdansk 2025. So they are not all the same as the original Verdansk, and unfortunately, there are no permanent rewards that you get for any of them right now, and the loot in them all isn't that great either. I'm hoping that they get updated in the future with some better rewards. If they do, I will add a pinned comment, because right now I think that these are mostly not worth doing. Firstly, this is how you unlock all of the bunkers that have specific key codes that you need to input. First of all, for bunker 1, you want to head to this area of the map in the southwest to this specific point you can see on screen. Once you make your way into the bunker, you want to input this specific code, which is 042222021. Now this code was given to us on the nuke calendar, so that's how we knew about it. And like the other bunkers in the game, currently there's not anything crazy within these bunkers. You can get some orange crates, and there's all the nostalgic stuff from the bunkers of old, but there's not really anything special, and you cannot open the other sections of the bunker just yet. Maybe they'll be opened up in the future, maybe they'll add some better loot in these at a future point. Now we have a bunker 3 that can be found on this specific point on the TAC map on screen. So head over here, and once you get into the bunker, the specific code that you need to input is 301988805. Similar to bunker 1, this code was given to us because it was on top of the supermarket's promotional poster. And again, once you go inside, you can get some orange crates, kill streaks, there's a Lenin statue on the desk, and a load of other stuff, but nothing too crazy. Finally, the third bunker that has a specific code that you need to input is bunker 10. This time, the game does not give anything away for what the code actually is, and this can be found right at the bottom of the map on this specific point on screen. So if you head over here, the code you need to input is 31547206, and this is the reversed version of the code that you had to input to enter bunker 10 in the original Verdansk. People were just testing this out, I guess. I don't think there's any clue in game to suggest to do that, but it's an obvious thing to try out. Once again, the same kind of loot can be found inside, nothing too crazy. These bunkers are smaller than, for example, bunker 11. Now I want to move on to the bunkers that you can open specifically with the red as well as the blue keycards you can get on the map. So unlike the other bunkers in the game that require specific codes or an Easter egg to unlock, these ones you can unlock basically by random luck. So as you are looting throughout the map, there is a random chance to get a red or a blue keycard from the crates on the map. This is entirely random, there is not better odds depending on different parts of the map, and of course you can also get them from killing an enemy who has one on their person. Anyways, if you are lucky enough to get a red key card, this one can open 3 specific bunkers on the map, which are bunkers 4, bunkers 5, and bunker 6. And you can see the map on screen that shows the locations for them. Now if you get a blue key card, this time it opens bunkers 2, 7, or 8. And you don't need to input anything to open. As soon as you have the key card, you can just interact with the pad and it will begin opening up. You can just go in and get various different loot like kill streaks and the different crates. There is a Lenin statue in here. You can only open one bunker with the key card. You cannot open multiple. And there's not anything special in the bunkers at this moment in time. You just get a bunch of loot. There isn't really too much craziness going on. And currently the deeper sections of all of the bunkers on the map are still locked. And of course you need to be wary when entering in case there's other enemies around. Now this is how you unlock the most enigmatic bunker, bunker 11, which has the best rewards in it as well, albeit they're still not that great, especially considering the time it takes to do this quest. So this Easter egg is actually exactly the same as the original Verdansk, and unfortunately there's not a proper reward for this, and the loot isn't that crazy as well. Anyways, in order to do this, if you've done the original, you'll be familiar. However, if you need a refresher or you're new to the franchise, on screen right now you can see a map created by Detonated, and at each of these points are going to be phones. So first of all, you only want to focus on the red markers on screen for the first phone that you need to find on the map. So when you spawn in your game, pick a location, one you think is probably going to have the least people going there as well to go to. And if you head over to this location and you can hear the phone ringing, it means that it is the correct spot, because basically not all of the phones are going to be ringing on the map, only some of them are. So if you go to the phone and it's not ringing, you can interact with it, but it's just pointless. So in that case, head to a different location that's closest to you for where the phone can be. And because it rings, this can help identify where it is, since you'll be able to hear it in the nearby vicinity. Now this ringing phone will ring in many of the positions on the map. There will only be a few positions that are not ringing, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find one that is ringing, and they all give you the same message. It doesn't matter which one you interact with. And also bear in mind, as you can see on the map on screen, there are some red and blue marked phones near each other, so make sure you are doing the correct one and you're on the right part of the map. Anyways, once you've located a ringing phone, you want to interact with it, and basically a Russian soldier is going to begin speaking to you, and they are going to read off 3 numbers in Russian, but obviously most of you probably watching this video don't speak Russian, and it is a must to have subtitles turned on for this, because it will tell you the subtitles on screen, so you won't have to be trying to listen to what they're actually saying. And on screen right now you can see the numbers 1 to 10 in Russian, and basically you just want to note down the 3 numbers read out in Russian in the subtitles with what the English number actually is, or whatever language is best for you. I assume since you're watching an English speaking video, English is best for you. So you can either take a screenshot as each number is stated, and then you can write them down or try and remember it, or you can just write them down as they're being said, or just remember it if your memory is really great. Whatever the case may be, you need to remember the order. So in my particular game, the 3 numbers that I read out in Russian were 0, 5, 3. And this is where the other phones come into play, marked blue on the map. So jumping back to the map on screen right now, as you can see, they have various different numbers on. So basically, you need to activate the 3 different phones in the precise order that you heard from the ringing phone. So in my particular case, I first had to go to telephone 0, which is found to the right of the dam. So I headed over here and interacted with the phone, and you should just hear a buzzing noise. The second phone location is number 5, so I had to head over to the TV station. Now, like I said before, there are some points where there's a red and a blue marker here, so in this case I had to make sure that I was interacting with the correct phone. However, if you do so happen to interact with one of the red markers, it doesn't matter, it'll just read off the number sequence once again, which you might need anyways to help you remember. Anyways, after I've interacted with that, I then need to go over to the third and final telephone, this time located at the top of the quarry. So I made my way over here and interacted with the third and final phone. If you have done this correctly, the Russian person will begin speaking to you once again to let you know that you are done and bunker 11 is now ready to be opened. If at any point you get interference instead or interrupted, it means that you've done the order incorrectly, but it shouldn't be too difficult to do, in which case you can start the ordering again. However, you would probably be so late into your game by that point, there's not really any point. After I did all of that, it's time to head to bunker 11, which can be found right at the top of the map, northeast of the dam, literally right over here. And you do not need to input any number, just interact with the keypad, and if you've done the phones correctly, it will then open up. Now, unfortunately for me, the game literally came to a close as I managed to get in the bunker, but there's not really too crazy loot that you can get within the bunker. There are 2 legendary C9s, and you can also get the specialist perks, and there's a bunch of other loot that you can get. You can also see the nuke in the back if you remember from the original Verdansk, so I don't know if that means they're going to nuke it again at some point. I'm not exactly sure what's going on storyline wise, but yeah, it's a lot of effort to do this for not really much purpose, so honestly I wouldn't recommend this at all, and you can do it in any mode as well, it doesn't matter. It is a shame that there's no exclusive blueprints like in the original. Maybe they'll add something else in here in the future, but that's all for now. Finally, this is how you unlock the subway Easter egg, where you can go ahead and get yourself the specialist bonus. Unfortunately, there is no juggernaut in here, unlike in the original Verdansk, but there is the potential it might get added in the future, or they might add some other different rewards in this, because currently as it stands, the Easter egg is definitely way too arduous and tedious for it to be worth doing, and it's exactly the same process as in the original Verdansk, so if you've played that before, you probably already know what to do, or if you need a refresher, this video is for you, or if you're a brand new player, once again, this video will be very helpful. I really hope they do add some better rewards for all of the Easter eggs on Verdansk 2025, because currently, I've done literally every single one, and I can tell you, not one none is worth doing, which is a massive shame because a lot of effort's gone into a lot of especially the unique Easter eggs. For what purpose? So for this Easter egg, you need to head to the downtown art gallery that you can see marked on the TAC map on screen. Once you enter here, because obviously it's an art gallery, there are many different paintings hung on the corridors as well as in the main room. What I would recommend doing for this Easter egg, instead of trying to attempt it straight away, I would recommend trying to memorize the positions of where all of these paintings are located. Depending on how good your memory is, this might just take one game or many different games. I would recommend just sort of hanging out here and trying to do that, probably in Plunder or Battle Royale Casual, just to make it easier for you. Now, if you have a fantastic memory, by all means attempt the Easter egg straight away, but from my own personal experience, it took many different attempts to finally be able to master it. So the artworks of many different things, such as a palace, a house, a cliff, a river. There is also a blank one that just has a plaque underneath, a forest with a river running through it, an owl, and there's also a vase with some plants in. And there are duplicates of many of these paintings, so bear that in mind. You are going to be required to remember where they are, so depending on whichever sequence you get, which I'm about to explain, obviously go to whichever one is easiest and makes the most sense for those duplicate instances. The paintings are in the exact same location every single game. They are not randomized. However, there are different numbers that are going to randomize that I'll explain in a second, correlated with each of the paintings. So once you have a good idea of the positionings of the paintings and you feel confident, in this town hall building, you can go up to this button and interact with it, and the code you need to input is 2179. Now this is the exact same in every single game. After you've inputted the code correctly, it will begin a lockdown where gas will start slowly seeping into the building. And you have about 2 minutes to do this, otherwise you will just die to the gas, so be cautious of that. And if you are a random player and you happen to be in here while someone else is doing the Easter egg, there's a good chance you might die, so just be wary of that as well. This can be used to troll people. Once the lockdown's begun, you just need to come over to this computer behind where the button is, and if you interact with it, it will show you 4 different pictures which are smaller sections from each of the different paintings. And after it displays each of the paintings, it will either show an X, which means that the number stays the same, or a plus or a negative number, which is telling you how many numbers you want to add or subtract. On screen right now, you can see an image which correlates each of the smaller sections of the paintings to their larger counterparts, so that you can match up and memorize which one's which. Now, like remembering the paintings, it may take some time to get used to remembering which painting is which, and you can see they're all labeled with different names, but feel free to use any of your own naming conventions you want. Of course, the shorter, the easier. Now, on the image on screen, you can see for the boat, this one is correlated to the one that isn't up on the wall, so bear that in mind. So what I would recommend doing is writing down, if your memory isn't that great, each of the paintings it displays. So in my particular game, it displayed the horse with the number -1 next to it. It displayed the snowy cliff with the number -2, the house with the number -2, and then the meat or the plant vase with the number +2. So if you now head over to the paintings, there is going to be a random number underneath each of the paintings. And if you've gotten an X for your number, it remains unchanged, and you want to write that number down. If it's a plus or a negative number, you want to add or take that away. In my case, the horse was displaying number 6 and the computer said -1, so the first code sequence is number 5. The cliff was displaying the number 5 and the computer said -2, so my second sequence is number 3. The house was displaying number 9 and the computer said -2, so I get number 7 as my third code. The meat or the plant was displaying number 6, the computer said +2, so I get the number 8 as my fourth and final code. Now the numbers are in Roman numerals. Most people know Roman numerals, but you can see the Roman numerals on screen if you need to memorize these as well. I would recommend taking a screenshot of the paintings matching with the smaller sections on screen right now so that you can memorize them. So after you've worked out the correct 4-digit code sequence, you can go back to the computer and interact with it again, and it's going to display the sequence of paintings to you once again, after which it will then allow you to input the code. So in my game, like I said, I worked out the sequence is 5, 378. So I inputted that number code literally in the nick of time because the gas was about to kill me, and it went blue and said that the subway is now able to be opened. So as you can see, how I explained it was to interact with the computer first, note down the numbers correlated with the paintings, and then find the numbers on the paintings and work out the code. Now, alternatively, you can do it the other way around, which is looking at all of the different paintings and then going over to the computer. But that doesn't make sense because then you're going to have to remember a lot more numbers. This is a much easier way to do it. And you can also interact with the computer as many times as you wish during this tight time frame if the paintings and their numbers associated went by too quickly on the computer screen. However, you are very short on time doing this, so probably if you've looked at it twice, you're going to run out of time, so bear that in mind. So you will die if you fail to input the code correctly, or you just take too long. The gas will kill you, and if you do so, you can then come back over to the hall gallery, and you can do this once again. However, this time it's going to be a different sequence. So after you've inputted the code correctly on the computer, you can then head over to the airport subway entrance, to the specific point on the tac map that you can see on screen. Once you come over here, you can then go up to this door and you can interact with the button to unlock the subway, and you can go down inside, and there's some chests and some loot that you can get from here. But the main thing is, if you come over to the train itself or the carriage, you can go ahead and collect your specialist bonus. So yeah, there's a bunch of crates that you can explore to get loot, but unfortunately there's not crazy loot you get from this. Before, you would get a juggernaut guaranteed, I believe, in the original Verdansk, so this is a much worse version. So maybe they will update the loot in the future or give some sort of reward, because this is a lot of effort to memorize and do. For there to be no reward is absolutely insane. You really should be getting at least a blueprint for all of the Easter eggs on Verdansk 2025. If they do at any point change the rewards, I will be sure to add a pinned comment letting you know so you can determine if you think this is worth it or not. Now, currently the only bunker that we don't know how to access just yet is Bunker 0, so I'm not sure if it is actually active in the game. You can hear crates behind it, and it does seem like you need a biometric scanner to be able to get in, but it's been a few days now since the update went live and no one's found how to get in it. So I'm not sure if there is a random code on the map somewhere that will show you how to get in, or there's something else that people haven't found. But to be honest, I'm leaning against the idea of it being live in the game right now. I think it's preparing it to go live. However, I feel like it won't go live fully until the Season 4 update on the 28th/29th of May. But whenever we find out how to get in, I'll be sure to do that as a separate video. But personally, I don't think it's live right now, but we will see. That's been how you unlock all of the bunkers in Verdansk 2025. Like I said at the start, if any of the rewards change or are added, I will be sure to add a pinned comment, because right now these are not really worth doing at all. You can get much better loot just playing the game normally instead of wasting all of your time traversing and collecting things and blah blah blah. So there definitely needs to be some permanent rewards as well as temporary rewards just for your game, as well as if they ever change the steps at any point, I'll be sure to add a pinned comment as well. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news information. So anyways, thanks for watching, and bye.